HD, and Scott Reif. Scott, you are over the Thomas fire.
Yes, we are, and we've moved up into Santa Paula. Now, this isn't far from where the fire originated yesterday afternoon around 6:30. You see residents on the roof doing everything they can do to save their homes. You see a lot of people running around in this area. Now, there is fire support, but there's also some trees on fire right next to some of these homes. Now, to give you an idea where we saw all those homes that were destroyed was about 10 to 12 miles south of here in the Ventura area. This is the northern end of the fire, and here's the real concern. Although I think they're going to be okay right in that area because they have protection, this area right now is where the head of this fire is, up in the Los Padres National Forest, and it is just consuming the acreage extremely fast, and that's going to wind its way around towards Ojai if we don't have a change in the winds, and that's why we had those evacuations there. We'll come back down to our shot and show you those homes once again. If there is a little bit of good news, all of those homes that were threatened earlier in that area where all those homes were destroyed, such a sad spot, that has really died down. Dallas had mentioned that the winds had calmed a little bit. They certainly have, and that area down there in Ventura looks much better. Right now, though, a lot of concern in Santa Paula, very close to where the fire started yesterday afternoon, although they have fairly good structure protection, and we do have helicopters making drops. We haven't seen a whole lot of drops on this Thomas fire, not that we haven't from the air anyways, and it doesn't seem like they had the type of aerial support that they did on the Creek fire. But certainly right here, we're not out of the woods. There's a lot of concern. The residents doing everything they can do to try and save their homes, as you would expect. But boy, sometimes this fire will wrap around and come around on the other side, and that's when it gets very dangerous. So evacuation orders are in effect, but some of these residents have opted to stay.
Oh, that's a tough situation. If people are told to go, it's the best, the most wise to evacuate. Let's go back out to the Sunland area, and let's go to Chelsea Edwards. Chelsea, you're covering the Creek fire, and wow, there's a lot of fire going on right behind you.
A lot of fire. You know, this has just happened. You can hear the firefighters shouting. You can actually hear the flames shooting out of this home. They were just engulfing this roof for a little while, and then all of a sudden we heard what sounded like explosions. We heard glass breaking, and then just a roar of fire, and that is what we're seeing now. It just shooting directly out from the roof and then directly out through what appears to be either a living room window, a front window, or a garage. Kind of hard to tell, but you can see firefighters are on top of it. They have been on this street for the last several hours trying to save these homes. Unfortunately, as you can see, some of these are total losses. Obviously, this one right here that they're trying to save. This is one of 4 that are standing directly next to each other, all complete losses. Take a look at this one. Now, this is on Wheatland Avenue, and you can see nothing but a shell left from here. When we arrived earlier today, this was still fully engulfed, but you can see there aren't even walls standing here anymore. This is down to simply the foundation and just a few pillars there. That's how ferocious this fire was. And then, of course, we're seeing the destruction on this one. Now, up the street where we were a little bit earlier are 2 additional homes that are completely engulfed. Firefighters doing everything they can to try to save those, but I can tell you from what it looks like here, it appears that these homes are total losses. Again, all directly next to each other on just this one street in Sunland. So you can see firefighters pulling these hoses, actively trying to get it out, and it looks like they've been making some progress. You know, just a minute ago, those flames again were shooting out of that window and out of that roof, but they are attacking this heavily. Firefighters in both directions running even more lines to try to save this. Now, firefighters dealing with a lot of dangerous conditions out here. You can see the hose is actually hitting one of those wires. That's one of the downed wires, and there are many in this area. In fact, if we look sort of down behind us, it's really hard to see. It's so thick and soupy. There you go. We just saw one. Sorry, we're trying to navigate through these lines here. Take a look. You see that sparking. This is happening over and over again. These are these downed lines that firefighters are so concerned about. One, because they're so hard to see, because it is so smoky in this area. Very dangerous, and you know, obviously very difficult to see. You don't necessarily notice them when you're walking by until they start sparking like that. So firefighters, I don't know if you can tell, they put some caution tape down below, but again, in these kinds of conditions and these kind of thick, soupy smoke, you know, it's hard to be able to see those things. So we're taking a lot of extra precautions just to make sure that we stay safe as well. I want to show you this as well. Look at the sun. You can see how dark it is by all this smoke. Gives you an idea of just how much smoke is in the air here. We've been breathing it and feeling it since we've been here. And these firefighters, it's incredible that they're working in these conditions. Now let's take one more look at the end. Looks like they've doused at least the bulk of those flames. You can hear the water hitting that house, hitting those lines. Firefighters, again, doing everything they can, but a lot of destruction. Just a tragic situation on this street here on Wheatland Avenue in Sunland. At least 4 homes are total losses. And again, it is hard to see out here, so it remains to be seen if there is any additional damage down the street any further. We've been staying in this spot, but we are going to explore a little bit more and bring you updates as we get them. Live in Sunland, Chelsea Edwards, ABC 7 Eyewitness News. Sparking again, as you can see.
Stay away from that, Chelsea. Be careful out there. Dangerous situation where Chelsea is. Carlos Granda is driving through Sunland right now and getting probably a great view of a lot of destruction. Carlos?
Well, that's what we're going to show you right now. We're on Stonehurst, about to go to Wentworth. This is where you may be able to see in front of me, people are actually driving out, getting out of the neighborhood, moving their animals, moving their horses. We're going to make a right turn here on Wentworth. And just earlier, we saw flames here on the left, and you can see this thick smoke right there ahead of us. That's right near Hanson Dam area. And you might be able to see in the distance some flames. And then as we move right here, we'll be able to see where all the firefighters are. This is where they're taking a stand. They're trying to stop it from moving to the right side of the screen, because that's where all the homes are. The left is Hanson Dam area and the golf course, and that's where it's burning. But the right is where all the homes are, all those horses. They're all in that area, so they're trying to stop it there. And right ahead of us, we'll probably be able to see the flashing lights of the fire trucks in a minute. But again, the smoke is so thick, it is very difficult to see, you know, even just a few feet in front of you as we're driving through. So right now, here we go. We're going into where the thick smoke is, and it's actually a bit dangerous to drive through this because you never know what's going to be coming in the other direction. But again, this is gives you an idea just how bad the smoke is, how intense it is. There's some flames to the left, and all that is blowing across Wentworth toward the residential area on the right. But this will give you an idea just how this looks at this moment. Again, it's been pretty crazy out here because the wind is blowing in every direction. So no matter where you look, you can feel the smoke coming at you. You don't know where the flames are heading. But again, this is what firefighters have been dealing with all day out here.
Carlos, let's talk about it. Just a moment ago, you were in the Silmar area and you were on the ground, and we were looking at that beautiful white horse that was pretty frantic trying to get out, and it was trapped in its own corral area. Do you have an update on the status of that horse?
Well, we do know that there are people there around the area. We went in there moving all the horses out. So they're hopefully eventually going to get to that horse. Neighbors are helping each other. People there are saying, hey, we're bringing in trailers and taking every horse out. Even if it's not our horse, we'll just grab the horses and take them out of here to safety. So I'm pretty confident that no animal will stay there if this gets too dangerous. The people here, from talking to them, they love these horses. This is a tight-knit community. They're taking care of all the animals, but again, you know, so I'm pretty sure it's going to be fine. But here you can see just some of the thick smoke. All this area to the left of us burned, and that's all the smoke, and that's on that area. They're making sure there are no hot spots that pop up, and making sure none of this blows over to the right where some of the homes are. But again, this will give you an idea as we head down Wentworth, just the destruction here, because the fire did go through here about 35 to 45 minutes ago.
Wow. All right, Carlos, thank you for the update. We'll hope for the best for that horse. In the meantime, you've been watching this house fully engulfed on the right-hand side. That is in Sunland. JT Alpa is over at Nair 7 HG. JT?
Yeah, we believe this is very close to where Carlos Granda is. This is on Hill Rose and Radwin, just to the south side of Wentworth. This home just caught fire, and as quickly as we saw it, it was fully involved. In fact, we're going to pan to the left just a little bit and show you another home just went to its left, an exposure, and some more homes going right at the end of Hill Rose. All these homes in immediate danger right now as it's starting. You can see LA City Fire and Augusta Westland 139 doing direct drops on the home here. We're not going to get any steeper here. The house with the blue roof on the right appears to be spared at this particular moment, but we're going to pull out again and show you where all these embers and where all these sparks are going into these neighborhoods. This is on the south side of Wentworth, I should say. And we're going to pan over, and there is Mary Bly Street, I believe it is, or Mary Bell Street. We're going to push in. All these homes down between La Cañada Way and Wentworth, right around Mary Bell Avenue, are in intimate danger right now as this fire crests over Westwood. In fact, there's another home right there starting to go. We're going to take a look at that. Uncertain if that's brush near a structure. Well, up to the top of your screen right in here, that is a structure. structure going. So this is really bad news for Sunland Tujunga, as it's really starting to pick up these winds as we get closer to sundown, starting to pick up and rip through these canyons right around this area. But all these homes south of Wentworth between La Cañada Way, Mary Bly are going to burn as this continues. Not a lot of structure protection in, just not enough firefighters to get in there. And you can see that side house, in fact 2 or 3 homes now exposed. This one started, this one just started up, and the one to the left, if we come to the left just a little bit, that one is going to go as well. Fierce winds behind this fire as it continues to burn here on Hill Rose right near Radwin. David, Colleen, we'll throw it back to you.
Oh, JT, those images are just, they're just so sad to see. And of course, there are so many firefighters working on all these fires that are popping up everywhere. And of course, there is not enough manpower to get to them all. What a sad loss for the people who own that property. Also, let's talk about the roads. It is very trying if you're trying to get around the area, especially where these fires are. Let's go to Kimmy Evans to look at the traffic situation right now. Kimmy?
All right. Thanks so much. This is how things are looking for the metro area of LA, as well as down into Orange County. Not too much activity, but it is starting to pick up. Obviously, it's that hour getting closer and closer to 4 o'clock, then 5. So all that traffic is certainly going to start to pick up for us. But our main concern is where the fires are. So we've got the Creek Fire and the Rye Fire. So that Creek Fire, obviously near the Sylmar area, and we saw those northeast winds starting to blow everything over the freeways. Let's take a look at what's going on here. The 210 freeway is closed from the 5 to the 2. So if you have plans to travel on the 210 freeway, you're going to want to avoid that altogether today. Just avoid that area entirely. Also the 118 at the 210, you want to stay away from there because that is also closed. Now earlier we had the 5 closed down in both directions. Now although that has opened up, CHP is escorting vehicles on the northbound direction of the 5 freeway, so around Magic Mound Parkway. So be mindful of that. If you don't need to be in these areas, steer clear completely and let the rescue teams and the firefighters get through all these roads because they're going to need to get a lot of access, as well as those who are evacuating. Eastbound 118 at Tampa Avenue, the 2 right lanes there are closed and backed up to Topanga Canyon Boulevard, also due to fire and smoke. And here's the largest fire, the Thomas Fire. Now earlier today, that 33 was closed as well, but they have reopened that. But again, reiterating the fact that we want these roads to stay open. So if you don't have to be in the area, or unless you're evacuating, please stay away from all these roads and let the firefighters have access to these freeways. Now, usual traffic, though, on the 605 in both directions and that stretch of the 405 as well. So usual slowing for most of the Southland, but again, those fire areas we certainly want you to stay away from. And right now, because we are seeing those northeast winds, and Dallas will come back and fill you in more on those winds and where these fires are headed. But as you know, the fires and the wind directions can change just like that. So please use a lot of caution, and don't forget the smoke is also very dangerous. So in your cars, keep the windows up and try to circulate the air inside so you're not taking in all that smoke. All right, that's a look at your traffic. I'll send it back over to you guys.
All right, good information. Thank you very much, Kimmy. Well, you can see the water drop happening right there as we speak. We've been just watching these helicopters. Not a lot of water drops taking place, but again, whatever they are doing, hopefully getting an upper hand on that. We're also going to go back out to San Bernardino. We're going to go to the Little Mountain Fire. Rob McMillan has been covering that from the beginning of that fire. Rob, what's the update there?
Well, the Little Mountain Fire has been burning for a little over 2 hours now, and officially it stands at 100 acres burned. But as you can see at the top of the hill here, the fire continues to burn. We're on Miramonte Drive in San Bernardino, and the fire has been pushing to the southeast. If you've been watching our coverage for the past couple of hours, the fire seems to roll right up to the backs of homes, and then firefighters make their stand, and the fire simply says, okay, I'm going to go another direction. And so now this is what we're seeing right here. We're joined by Elisa Carr, who's a resident in this area. What have you seen out here today?
Well, how the fires jump from spot to spot to spot, and it's just burning out on its own, which is good. But everybody is doing good. Save God is going to cover everybody. Thank you.
Do you think you're going to have to evacuate? Have you given thought to that yet?
If I do, I'm going to be there with my son and my family, yes.
Fortunately, right now, it seems like the fire is burning the other direction.
Yes, yes.
Thank you very much, Elisa. Again, the fire burning toward the top of the hill there. You can see there's some dozers up there, and my photographer was pointing out to me off to the right. You can see fire break there. It looks like a lot of dirt, you know, and probably at least 15 to 20 feet wide right there. Two things to point out real quick. One structure has been lost, not here in the Little Mountain fire, but when a big rig that was heading north on the 215 freeway caught fire, its load caught fire by embers, and those embers flew to a home on Myers Road. That structure was lost. The other thing we need to point out as we wrap up, the 215 freeway closed in both directions as firefighters battled the Little Mountain fire. Back to you.
All right, Rob, thank you. Let's go back to Veronica Miracle covering the Creek Fire, and she's been in the middle of mass chaos trying to help so many animals. Veronica, what's the latest?
Well, David, these 4 horses are being rescued right now by Animal Services. They're, of course, skittish and scared. So I'm just going to scooch back a little bit because, yeah, you can see they put the covers over their eyes, and that's to just make sure that, of course, the dust doesn't get in, but from what I understand, to make sure that they're not too scared and they can't see. So they're loading these horses up one by one, and I was just informed by somebody else that there's about 40 more horses up the road. And so from what I understand from the LA City Animal Services Department, LAPD is also going to be coming out and trying to get these horses. There's just so many of them. An update to the alpacas that are up the road. Some woman from the area saw our live report, and she actually owns alpacas herself, and so she's getting her trailer to come and help get those animals out. But here we are in the middle of the chaos. You can see just what we've been experiencing here is this madness, and trying to get these poor animals to safety. So, yep, okay, yeah, they're so scared. They're so scared.
Yeah, and a monumental task still lies ahead. If you're saying 40 more horses need to be rescued, that is incredible. Veronica, we're getting a lot of talk on social media from your reports. First of all, that's great news that the alpacas are going to be pulled out of there thanks to a good Samaritan who has the capability of helping. We have somebody else talking about they saw a couple of dogs tied up behind you.
Rottweilers.
Yes.
For a while.
Are they
those
okay?
dogs, yes, they are okay. They're actually, they're owned by some of the people here helping rescue the horses. So they're just tied up while the owners are trying to wrangle everybody else to safety, but they are totally in good hands.
All right, that's good news. So a lot of good news coming out from where you are, but still a ton of work that needs to be done. And thank you everybody for watching and commenting and helping, because this is a community and it's a community effort in order to save everybody.
Okay, thanks.
Absolutely, you can see it right here.
Oh, thank you again, Veronica. We're going to go back out to the Thomas Fire. And Rob Hayes, you've been covering it. Looks like you're in a different neighborhood now, but sort of the same backdrop.
Yeah, we moved about 2 blocks west of where we are. We're on Via Posito right now. I'll give you an idea of some of the, I guess, the scale of the destruction here. You take a look down the street here, you'll just see house after house destroyed down there, and it doesn't end there. If we walk up to the edge of this hillside right here, take a look down here inside the valley. This will give you a wider view of the destruction. House, you know, flattened, another house flattened, another one flat, just house after house after house. And then let's walk this way. You can see off to your left here, you'll see some other smoldering houses down there, some that were seemingly untouched. They look like their lawn was burnt, but the house, the structure itself doesn't seem damaged much. We'll take a walk over here, and this is interesting. I talked with a firefighter a short time ago, and I noticed they had a tanker truck parked next to a hydrant. It wasn't, they were using the water from the tanker to protect a home, but they weren't using the hydrant at all. And he told me that they were having a lot of problems with the water hydrants not working, although he did say that they are up and working now. Here's some smoldering. This is what I find interesting. Here's a fire still smoldering. This is ice plant, which I always understood to be a pretty good fire plant, but you can see it's still smoldering here and burning. We'll walk over this way. Here's a home off to the left, untouched, in really good shape. But then you come across here to this other side of the street. and you'll see even more homes down here that are burned out in this kind of valley down below here. And it's still just a kind of a smoldering mess here in this neighborhood. Off to the left, even more homes that were destroyed. So you can see where the fire moved through here. And I guess this location kind of gives you an idea of where this neighborhood is situated. We are up in the hills, and off to the left, you should be able to see the Pacific out there, but it's kind of smoky. But that is the direction out there of the ocean. But down here, just a lot of devastation, just a lot of homes leveled by these flames, a lot of homes that were able to skip destruction, who were lucky enough to be saved either by firefighters or just dumb luck. But yeah, that's the scene from up here, Via Pasito. It's the 200 block of Via Pasito. So.
All right, thank you very much, Rob. Let's talk to Miriam Hernandez. Yeah. She's also sort of near you right now. Miriam Hernandez, you're covering the Thomas Fire as well. Wow, you have some active flames behind you.
Yes, we do. We are on the western side of Santa Paula, just adjacent to the Santa Paula Cemetery, and we can show you some of the flare-ups they've had here. The heavy winds, the strong winds have calmed down now, and now some of the fires that we see are maybe a little bit of terrain-driven fires, and these eucalyptus trees are just catching right now. And there are a number of residents in this area who are on watch at this moment, and if you can pan over here, Dave, you can see this whole line of homes that have been we've seen neighbors there hosing down their backyard and watching for any kind of flames or embers that may be coming from this direction. There have been a lot of spectators watching this area very closely. It had seemed that this fire had moved from the back of Santa Paula towards Ventura, and that Santa Paula proper was out of danger. But as we can see from the wind behavior here, when the heavy winds settle down, there are just some small breezes, and then those winds can swirl and go back the other direction. We have a number of helicopters in the area making water drops, and now it seems like they're a little bit more effective because the winds are not nearly as forceful as they had been. The Santa Paula PD has been up and down this road trying to make sure it's all clear of private vehicles. This is Dickinson Ranch Road, if you're familiar with this area, going up into the canyon. But this is very much part of the western Santa Paula residential area. So many people here on Santa Paula Street and in the neighborhood adjacent to the cemetery, keeping a watch on this fire, as well as firefighters are here. We saw a whole string of them taking a stand in the cemetery itself, watching the orchards that surround this area. So that is the situation from here. We're keeping an eye on it and seeing if there's any wind shifts towards the homes. Okay, and there we go. Here's a neighbor. He's out here with a garden hose. It seems like a very futile effort in some regards, but it's all that people can do in order to tamp down the dust and the brush that has grown so abundantly with the recent rain we had. This is a barranca that comes right through to Santa Paula Street all the way down to the Santa Clarita River. So a lot of brush, a lot of dry brush, very low humidity, and we're going to step aside and let the police vehicle go by. And right now, we see the flames here going higher and higher on this eucalyptus tree, very, very old tree here. And this becomes a larger danger, because if you have the larger trees, you also have the larger embers, and when those embers fly, they can go a long distance. In other areas that we've seen today, the Rye Canyon area and coming through over the 126, most of that was really flashy fuel, really lightweight ash, and really didn't have the capability of flying so far and staying lit. So with the larger trees, the larger embers, certainly the possibility of that flying into, a greater distance becomes a greater concern. Here comes another helicopter to make a drop. We're going to watch it. So throughout the perimeter of the Thomas Fire, on the places where it had passed last night, there are still little pockets that are flaring up. And now as the wind settles and as the wind starts going different directions, bouncing off the terrain, there are these places, such as this one we're looking at right here, that are flaring up. We're going to keep an eye on it and let you know if there are any further developments. But for now, we will send it back to you. Reporting live from Santa Paula, Miriam Hernandez, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
Miriam, thank you. Keep in mind, in a few minutes, we are anticipating a press conference with the mayor and a number of city and county officials to get a status on this disastrous day that we have had, not only in LA County, but in Ventura County as well. That is coming up. Also, Jonathan Novak joins us right now from Woodland Hills. He's at a facility where a lot of livestock are showing up to, keeping these animals out of harm's way. Jonathan?
Yeah, David, you can actually see over the horizon here the smoke fires. That, the opposite side, is the Thomas Fire, of course, and in between here on safer grounds is Pierce College. And about 60 or more at this point, animals have already been brought here and being rescued from these fires, from horses to donkeys and livestock. You can find an animal here that was rescued from one of those three fires. And they can be brought from the owners, or their friends have been helping out as well. I actually spoke to one lady who was helping an elderly couple with a whole lot of horses, and they haven't gotten all those horses yet to safety.
There's about 6 people in tandem trailers helping out, so we think we've gotten about half of them moved out right now. It's scary. It's scary. We got out almost to Hanson Dam, and then we heard that there was a fire out towards Thousand Oaks, and we were scared maybe we needed to get back to evacuate our own horses.
Obviously a large-scale event, and we want to make sure that it's done smoothly, safely, and at the end of the day that everybody leaves here with a peace of mind.
We've basically had this image here where horses have been essentially coming in after one other people bringing in their animal. Obviously an indication of the fires and the amazing problems that they're causing and displacing all these animals. Officer Gonzalez actually tells me that while they'll take animals from any county here that's experiencing issues with any of these wildfires, their priority is for LA and LA County. There are still plenty of animals out.
Sorry, we have a lot.
That's the story here. Jonathan Novak, ABC 7 News.
Okay, just about to say we lost Jonathan there, but we got you back just at the tail end. Jonathan, thank you very much for that live report. Michelle Tuzzi here now with Mark Brown as we continue our coverage of these devastating wildfires in Southern California. At least 4 serious fires burning out of control. The Thomas Fire in Ventura County has burned more than 50,000 acres, prompting a state of emergency declaration from the governor. 150 structures have been destroyed so far, including a 60-unit apartment complex in Ventura. Some 27,000 people in the county have been forced to leave their homes. In the meantime, the Creek Fire near Sylmar has burned some 11,000 acres. Fire officials say about 11 homes have been lost and some mandatory evacuations are in place. 3 firefighters have been injured, and we are expecting an update from officials on this fire at any minute. And in Santa Clarita, the Rye Fire has exploded in size, burning some 5,000 acres with just 5% containment. No structures have been damaged there, but some evacuation orders have been issued. And out in San Bernardino, the Little Mountain Fire has burned at least 100 acres with 0% containment. And we're going to bring you more coverage now on these wildfires. You can get, of course, the very latest on abc7.com if you're on your computer. And if you're watching us now, we hope you'll stay tuned because we have reporters fanned out all across Southern California. Let's begin the 4 o'clock hour now with Annabelle Munoz. She's live with more now on the Thomas Fire in Ventura County.
Yeah, we're on Foothill Road. You can see there was a home behind